Morning, kindergarten. I hope that you're enjoying some of your time off. I just wanted to go over some of the things that you might find in your packet that we made for you. We spent a lot of time and energy working on it, parents, so please just make sure that you don't leave their bags alone with them without any kind of supervision. Just make sure that you're making sure that things like the counting counters, these yellow and red counters, don't get lost because they're used almost every single day. Let's just go over some of the things that we'll have in your bag for you. So one of the first things that you'll find in your bag is your instructions, and your instructions will either be on their own or in their red folder. So the instructions in here, the way that I've set it up in my classroom, and every classroom might be different, look for the green packets. You should have a weather graph, and then over here it says kindergarten daily plans with checklist. This is what we're going to take out first. Okay, so we're going to take this out right here and open up to the first page. Now I made a little bit of a goof. When I made these, I accidentally made the first two sheets twice. So you'll see that this says kindergarten daily checklist, and then you turn to the next page. We've got some YouTube resources, and then it's repeated a second time. That was just my goof. Then it's two-sided, it's two of the same exact same resources before we get started. So just know that I accidentally put in an extra set in there for you. So they're just extra. So on the very front here, the very first thing I wrote is to prevent loss of materials and supplies, please do not leave children unsupervised with materials. Again, we worked very hard on these. This is not busy work. We made lesson plans for every single day. And the other thing I wanted to note on here is this is not mandatory homework. Okay, and we do not expect it to be returned. However, this will help your child continue learning and growing until we see you in April. We wanted to make sure that you had the supports that you needed at home. A lot of you know that you don't want to have any kind of slide in learning, and so we thought that this would be the best for you. I also included some ideas about your routine. You can go through and read it once you get it. Again, this is the most important document in your entire bag. Is going to be in this green packet, and it says the kindergarten daily plans with checklist. This is the most important thing in there. So if you turn to the next page right here, we've got some YouTube resources for you. These are a lot of the YouTube resources that we use in our classroom to help kids with their learning. I always tell my kids that I want these songs to be stuck in their head forever. I want them to be annoying. I want them singing them. I want them dreaming them, because it'll help it to stay in their memory for longer. So we really want it to stay in their brain. So these are some of the songs and the activities that we do on a pretty consistent basis. There's a lot more. One of the main resources we access all the time is by Jack Hartman. You pretty much can't go wrong with any of his videos, but one of the #1 things that are mentioned in the plans is the subitizing video. The other thing that's in here is we've got CVC words that'll help with writing and reading, making sure that they're getting those vowel sounds, A, E, I, O, U. There's songs for counting in here, and the sentence songs. The sentence songs are really good and are going to be important when they're working on their writing, because we are trying to work from writing a single sentence to writing multiple sentences and making sure that there's spaces and punctuation and a period at the end. So those are some of the things that will be really helpful for you. So I'm going to skip the next 2 pages because those are duplicates. If you turn to the first page right here, we've got week 1. So week 1 has starts with Tuesday because we're at school on Monday. So Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, turn the page, and then you will have Friday. And then I created one little art project for Saturday. So Friday, Saturday, and then it goes on to week 2. So all of this is in here. On week 1, for instance, there's a checklist right here. It's got some writing. There's some pencils here for the kids to be able to follow. A book. 1, 2, 3 means math. The globe right here is social studies, and right here is science. And the reason why I didn't put a science icon and put the 2 people is mostly this is going to be conversation with you just about what the weather is like that day. So let's go over one at a time. So the first one is writing. It says turn to page 1 in your writing journal, and using what you know about punctuation, finger spaces, sounding out words, and using the word wall, please write 1 to 3 complete sentences based on the prompt. So your writing folder looks like this. It might not be in a yellow folder, okay? It might be in a yellow folder, but it will say writing on the front. If you turn in here, here's what I'm talking about. So we've got our rubric right here. Your rubric is the thing that your kids have been looking at with an explanation underneath what each thing means. Capitals, finger spaces, sounding out words, word wall. That's what this is on this very first page, is your word wall. These are all of the sight words. You can add to them. Just make sure that they're neat, that this stays clean so that they can access it when they need it with their writing. So that's the word wall right here, punctuation, and they should be able to read their own writing. If they can't read it, then I probably won't be able to either, and you might not be able to, and the reason why we write is so that we can communicate. Then if you turn to the first page in here, look at that. We have our prompt. Okay, we've got a piece of paper right here, a place where we can do our picture, our writing, and then here's a whole nother space for more words. We've got the rubric on here again, as well as, it's hard to see because it's in here, but there's a little illustration rubric for those who need it, just meaning that you add labels to your picture and then it shouldn't be scribbles. This is kindergarten, so we're not doing scribbles and circles. We're actually using shapes and lines and color and appropriate colors in our picture. And a label means that you're putting the word next to the picture. So let's see here. Our prompt on this one says, what might you see on a hike? Okay, but before you do that, it even tells us that we want to take out our trifold for this week, is what could happen on a hike. So let's take out that trifold here. Oh, I put it in the reading for some reason. These will be in your writing folder. They shouldn't be in the reading folder. So let's see here. I've got one that says, what do scientists do when they discover something new? That's not the one. How things change when someone's growing up. Music. How do animals' colors help them survive? What steps can someone follow to plant flowers? Here we go, last one. What kinds of things could happen on a hike? This is the trifold foldable we're talking about. We have used these in class before. Kids know to carry them this way because when you open them up, there's information on the inside, as well as a little pocket with some cards in here, okay? So what you're going to do is, if the kid can, or if you have time, if your child does, you are going to read this with them, and it has information about hiking. They're going to answer the prompt. Please make sure you go back and check their writing and making sure that they're doing those things, that they're not using marker, but we use pencil. So we use pencil to write and crayons to color. We don't write with crayon. That way, if they have a mistake or they want to go back and change or edit, and hopefully I'll have time to show you on how to do that, then they'll be able to do that on their own. If you use crayon, you won't be able to fix it. So I'll put the foldable aside. These should be in your writing folder, not in your reading folder, but if they are, please just make sure you find them. This is what it's talking about. And that's just so that your kids also have an idea of what can be included on the inside. The other thing that's in your writing folder right here is a sentence strip, which will be referred to in both the math section as well as, I believe, the reading section. I can't quite remember, but this is a laminated sentence strip, and inside your bag of resources right here and different supplies is an Expo marker. Okay, your Expo marker can be used inside to write your words. This one happens to be purple. You might get whatever color you get. Remember, you get what you get, you don't throw a fit. So you've got your Expo marker. You can practice writing words. You can practice writing your numbers. If you're working on letter formation, this is what you want to use. To erase it, just use a Kleenex. Get an old paper towel or old shirt, whatever it is that suits you. Okay, so I'm going to put the writing folder away. Put these back in the writing folder because that's where you're going to use them, not in the reading. Close this up and I'll put writing aside. The next thing on our list for our checklist right here is, it says reading, page 1 in your I Can Read level packet. Read the story, use the guide as you're pointing to each word as you read, answer the comprehension questions. Okay, on certain days, I'm also going to add in there a poem as well as a sight word reader. This is in your reading folder right here. Okay, these are leveled. Each teacher made sure that we went through and we looked at the best levels we could so that your kids are reading at where they should be. That being said, they should also be something that they can easily practice. So for this one, their leveled reader, their leveled I Can Read book. I Can Read level, this is a level A. Okay, and I wrote Miss Fury on this one because this one's mine. They're going to turn to the first page. It points out the different types of text in here. So we're going to skip that page, and there are page numbers on the bottom. They're kind of hard to see, some of them, but this is page 1, this is page 2. It's referring to page 1. What you want to do is practice reading the words on this page. Hello, fox. Hello, owl. Hello, mouse. Hello, skunk. Then down here, you read the comprehension questions. What is he saying? Okay, then you circle the answer. Who is the story? Or sorry, who is in the story? Squirrel, skunk, raccoon. So you'll probably have to help them with the comprehension questions. This is all for the first day. This is something they can go back and read. Really what we want this student doing in this reading example is to be pointing to the words. It gets more challenging as you go. Okay, the sentences start to expand. So yours might not say level A, it might say level B or level C. So there's other types in here. So as you can see in this level B reader, it starts to get more challenging. This one says, I can have fun. I can swim. I can ride. I can skate. I can read. So these are those repetitive sentences that really focus on those sight words. Pointing as you read, answering the comprehension questions. If that day also refers to using a sight word, okay, with your reading, along with the book. This is also in here. So you've got your poems on your pages or your book. They're referred to in there. You might not have a poem and a book that day. You might just have a poem or a book, or you might not have either. But this is your reading where you'll find your poems, your books, as well as your I can read levels. There's one for every single day. Okay, so the next thing on our list is math. Okay, inside your math book, it says page 1. It's a good thing I noticed that it looks like Tuesday's day is off. So it says page 1 in your I can read level packet. Clearly we're not gonna do I can read. So I'll go to page 2, the rest are right. Fine, it says page 1B. So we're gonna do 1A. So this is the number corner book. Okay, this is from Bridges. And on the inside, we have our math story problems, okay? And then on top of that, we also have some resources that you can use with those counters that I pointed out earlier. This is our 10 frame, okay? Please don't write in here. You're going to use them over and over again. You don't want to color on these maps. They're just there as a resource. We've got our number bond mat with how to use that. We've also got a hundreds chart and a number line. Okay, there's a blank one, and then there's one from 0 to 20. You're going to do 1A on your math story problem sheet. That was a goof on my end. 1A means right here, birds in a tree. So birds in a tree, this is 1A, this is 1B. You would turn to the next page, 2A, 2B, and they're referenced by the title. You're just going to solve the math problem, use a picture, and then there's additional supports and ideas on how you can expand from there. The first thing on the first page should have been, also, it says, let's see here, number corner student book, page 2. So you open up, you've got different months in here. We're not going to pay attention to the months. We're going to go to the second page. Would have been on page 2. Page 1 is for Tuesday. You're going to complete the worksheet, okay? And then there's some additional ideas. For social studies, so I'm gonna put the math back in our math book and put this back off to the side. I'm going to put the packet and the supports back inside my book so that they don't get lost. The next part is our social studies, okay? You're not going to end up getting through all of this. This is the My World Social Studies curriculum that we have. We're only going to get through, let's see here, about halfway through page 64, 65, which is perfect because that's right where we'll come back into play. So the first day it says chapter 1, page 2, draw a picture of yourself working with a friend, and how is this cooperation? So I'm going to turn through the first couple pages. This is page 1. It says how do people best cooperate? My family, my school is the theme. The page is on the corner. There's also some teaching notes in there. That's for you. You're their first teacher, so you can use those to help guide you. And right here is where you're going to draw that picture. Each day there's something to do. If you need questions or have comments or need some additional ideas or want to extend it, there's some ideas down here on every single page. Okay? All right. The last thing is look out the window and what's the weather like? That's our science and our weather prompt, and that is in your red folder, or it's on a green piece of cardstock. Every single day, just put a little coloring crayon on how the weather is. It is double-sided, so if you run out of space, this is a good conversation starter. You can say, I see the weather is, I notice the weather is. They could draw the weather. Just have them have a conversation with you about what that weather looks like. You can talk about comparisons, greater than, less than, and equal, to help you out with that as well. Before I move on to the extra items that we also have in here, I wanted to point out everyone is also going to get an information sheet inside their red folder or somewhere on the inside. I covered up some of these because this is for a particular student. It tells you how to get on to Clever. If you need additional resources such as mystery science, or need some extra ideas, or kids just need a break, technology is really great for that. This is for a particular student. We're going to provide their username and password to Clever, which you click on an app where they can go. Usually the kids know what some of them are. If not, you go ahead and kind of just zoom around and see what you can find. And then right here, I covered up part of this. There's a scan code on here. So let's say you want the kids to be able to get onto Clever by themselves. If you can navigate them to that website, all you have to do is hold this up to your camera on your phone or your computer, and it'll log them into their account. On the second page, now yours might look different than mine if you're in another classroom. But we all have access to Raz Kids. Raz Kids is an amazing resource, and right now all of our key teachers have it, but it's also available to anybody because of the crisis that's going on. So this is our reading packet. It's got our teacher username and password. My username is mfury1, and my last name's hard to spell, so you don't want to lose this. And then it's got their username and password. So in my classroom, I believe everyone's password is the bunny. So it should be pretty easy. And then in other classrooms, it might be an apple, or it might be different, their username and password. You don't need to send this back. This is just all for at home. Again, just more information on the bottom. So Raz Kids, really important resource. Some of you are saying you don't have access to extra books at home. We've only got a few in there. This is where you're going to want to send your kids if you can, is Raz Kids, because it's all leveled and it gets harder as they go, and it's got comprehension questions and quizzes, and they can practice listening to it and reading it on their own. So that is a resource that you're really going to want to take advantage of. Again, we've got our red and yellow counters that also are going to go with math. Keep hold of these, don't let them get lost. And then we also have some additional resources for you for kids that might just need some extra practice or some fun things. Again, it might or might not be in a yellow folder. Mine's not labeled. We've got some practice right here. It's got some reading, some writing of our letters, and then they can draw a picture of something that starts with the letter A and it goes through the alphabet. We also have art projects every week. So all of those art projects are going to be inside here. We've got a calendar, we've got some painting, and then some other projects in here as well. But there's six total different things you can do. 3 of the days are painting, so you'll only want to do 1 at a time. We do have paints in there. They are used from our classroom. We tried to pick the best of what we had, and we just appreciate that you're able to make some space and some time for your kiddos to practice. We also have an entire bag of games that kids can practice. We've got some chutes and ladders with alphabet letters and sounds, both lowercase and uppercase. We've got some spinners and games that we also have in here that the kids have either played before or have been familiar with. The last thing is, and every teachers is going to look different, is we just have some extra what we call dittos. Meaning we just had some extra packets that, you know, sometimes kids just need something to do or bored, need some extra practice. That's what these are. So just some extra dittos in there. The last thing I want to show you, and some other teachers might be adding to this as we go, because we're all getting started and getting ready to go for Monday, is we also might have some extra packets like this. This is from our physical education teacher talking about what you could do in science and health. Or not science, but in your physical science and health, PE, and just some ideas that they have. So we might get some more things from science. I bet they're just going to refer you to mystery science, which is where you can find that on Clever. They might also just refer you to some other additional resources. I'm not sure if music will be providing anything either, and so this is what we have. So I hope that helps with an overview. Some additional hints or ideas or tips that you might be able to do is if your child doesn't already have a specific place in your home where they do work or where they keep their work, you might want to clear off a space for them that's a workspace so that they know that this is where I go to do my work. It can be the kitchen table, it can be another desk, it can be a corner in your house, just a specific place where all of these materials can be kept safe. I know that each of our teachers are either going to be putting the materials in a bag or in a specific spot, but you're going to want to make sure that those things stay together. Again, none of this is required. We're not requiring any of this of you. We just really wanted to make sure that each of you had something that you really needed that was useful and not just extra busy work. We know how hard you work with your kids. We want to make sure that our kids have the best that they can. So we hope that this is useful and helpful for you, and we hope that you stay safe and healthy, and we'll try to stay in touch as much as we can. We love you all and wish you well. All right, bye.